Imagine this moment, a single drop in the vast ocean of time whispering to you, let go. Not to lose yourself, but to set yourself free. We live in a world that begs for control. We try to bend life to our will, to fix, to change, to perfect. Yet, the tighter we cling, the heavier it feels. The question is, what if we stopped resisting? Today, I want to invite you into a practice, a philosophy, and perhaps a revelation. Radical acceptance. It's not a passive surrender or a waving of the white flag. No, it's an act of courage, a conscious decision to embrace life as it is, rather than wrestle with how it should be. Think about this. How much of your suffering stems from your refusal to let life flow as it will? We've all felt it. The frustration of a plan unraveling, the sting of a rejection we didn't expect, the ache of a loss we can't undo. Radical acceptance is the antidote to this endless struggle. It's the bridge between the pain we carry and the peace we seek. It's where modern psychology meets ancient wisdom, a harmony of mind and soul. Over the next serendipitous moments, we'll journey together through this practice. We'll start with the psychological foundations of radical acceptance, explore its spiritual depth through Zen teachings, and most importantly, we'll jump into practical steps you can take to live this truth in your daily life. Because here's the secret. When you stop resisting what is, you create space for what can be. So take a deep breath. Set aside the weight of what's undone, unsaid, and unresolved, just for now. Join me in this exploration of radical acceptance, and let's discover the freedom that's waiting for you in the present moment. Let's begin with the foundation. A principle grounded in both psychology and human experience. Radical acceptance is one of the core tenets of Dialectical Behavior Therapy, or DBT. It's a powerful yet deceptively simple idea. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Take a moment to let that sink in. Pain, whether it's physical, emotional, or circumstantial, will visit every one of us. But the suffering that clings to it, that's born from resistance. Imagine reality as this circle. It's everything that has already happened, everything that is. Now think of resistance as the energy we spend pushing against this circle, wishing it were smaller, smoother, or entirely different. The more we resist, the more tension we create. It's like pressing against a locked door, hoping it will magically open while ignoring the key in our pocket. But what happens when we stop? When we let go of the struggle to rewrite what's already been written? That's where radical acceptance comes in. It's not about giving up. It's about shifting our energy from resistance to resilience. Here's what radical acceptance is not. It's not condoning what happened. It's not approving of the pain or agreeing with the situation. It's not passive resignation. Instead, it's a brave and deliberate act of acknowledging reality as it is, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Think about this. How often have you told yourself, this shouldn't be happening? Or, if only things were different, I'd feel better. Those thoughts, while natural, keep us trapped in a cycle of suffering because they fight against what's already true. Radical acceptance asks us to pause, take a deep breath, and say, this is what's happening. This is what is. Let me share a story with you. There was a woman who came to DBT therapy after enduring an unbearable loss. She couldn't accept it, couldn't even speak of it without a torrent of pain. She told her therapist, I'll never be okay with this. And her therapist replied, you don't have to be okay with it. You just have to let it be. At first, she resisted, but over time she began to sit with her reality, not trying to erase it, not trying to change it, just sitting with it. Slowly, the pain softened. It didn't vanish, but it stopped controlling her. She found the strength to carry it instead of letting it carry her. That's the power of radical acceptance. Now let's make this personal. I want you to think of something in your life that you've been resisting, something painful, something unresolved, something that feels like it shouldn't be. Close your eyes if you're comfortable and name it. Got it? Now ask yourself, what am I resisting about this reality? What am I saying no to over and over, even though it's already true? What if just for a moment you let go of that resistance? What if you allowed this reality to simply exist as it is? Notice how your body feels when you even entertain the idea. Is there a release? A small shift in the weight you're carrying? This isn't easy. Radical acceptance is a practice, a skill that takes time to cultivate. But every time you choose to let go of resistance, you free up energy. Energy you can use to heal. Energy you can use to grow. Energy you can use to live. When we meet reality as it is, we step out of the storm of resistance and into the stillness of what is true. Acceptance is not weakness, it's the ultimate act of strength. So, as you move through your day, carry this thought with you. What would change if I stopped fighting reality and started leaning into it instead? Take your time with this. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. Let radical acceptance become your quiet ally, guiding you toward peace in the midst of whatever life brings. In the quiet teachings of Zen Buddhism, there's a timeless truth. Suffering is not caused by what happens to us, but by our attachment to how we think life should be. This teaching challenges one of the deepest instincts of human nature, the desire to control, to grasp, to hold life still. But in Zen, we learn that clinging is the root of suffering, and letting go is the path to peace. Attachment, in Zen, is often compared to a flame that consumes everything it touches. The more we cling to our desires, the more fuel we add to the fire of our suffering. Imagine how often we attach our happiness to conditions. I'll be happy when I get the promotion, or I'll feel at peace when this problem is resolved. Zen asks us to shift our focus. Instead of chasing a future that may never come, can we find peace in this moment, exactly as it is? One of the foundational teachings of Zen is the concept of impermanence. Everything in life, our joys, our sorrows, even our identities, is constantly changing. This might sound unsettling, but it's also liberating. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we free ourselves from the fear of losing what we hold dear. We stop clinging and start flowing with life. A beautiful metaphor in Zen is that of water. Water doesn't resist the obstacles in its path. It flows around them, adapting effortlessly to the shape of the moment. Water shows us the way. Accept what is and let go of what you cannot control. But let's be honest, letting go is easier said than done. It feels risky, doesn't it? We think, if I let go, what will I have left? But Zen teaches us that in releasing, we don't lose, we gain. We gain freedom from the burden of control, freedom from the weight of expectations, and freedom to fully experience the present moment. Let me share with you a Zen parable that speaks to this. A monk was crossing a river when he saw a scorpion struggling in the water. Without hesitation, the monk reached out to save it. But as he did, the scorpion stung him. The monk winced in pain, but tried again, and once more the scorpion stung him. A passerby watching this unfold called out, "Why do you keep trying to save the scorpion when it only stings you?" The monk replied, "Because it is in the scorpion's nature to sting, and it is in my nature to save." This story holds a profound truth. The monk accepted both the scorpion's nature and his own. He didn't resist reality or demand that it be different. Instead, he acted in alignment with his values, even in the face of pain. This is the essence of radical acceptance in Zen. It's not about passively enduring harm or injustice. It's about acknowledging the truth of the moment and responding with wisdom and compassion. Now let's turn this idea into practice. I want you to think of something you're holding on to so tightly that it's causing you pain. Maybe it's a relationship, a past regret, or a future worry. Close your eyes, if you can, and picture it in your hands. Feel the weight of it. Notice how your grip tightens. Now, imagine loosening your grip just a little, letting some of the weight fall away. You don't have to drop it entirely. Just allow yourself to hold it more gently. This practice of letting go doesn't mean we stop caring or stop trying. It means we stop fighting reality. We make space for life to move through us rather than against us. In the teachings of Zen, this act of letting go is called non-attachment. It's a way of being that allows us to embrace life's beauty and its challenges without clinging to either. And when we live this way, we find a peace that isn't dependent on circumstances, a peace that flows from within. Radical acceptance is not just a skill, it's a practice. It's the art of meeting life as it is, with an open heart and an open hand. It's about trusting that even in the uncertainty, there is wisdom. Even in the pain, there is growth. Take your time with this practice. Let it unfold naturally, like the seasons changing or the tide returning to the shore. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. The peace you seek is already within you, waiting to be uncovered, one moment of acceptance at a time. Now that we've explored the essence of radical acceptance, both through psychology and the wisdom of Zen, it's time to bring these ideas into practice. Because while understanding is the first step, transformation happens when we take action, no matter how small. Radical acceptance is a skill, and like any skill, it grows with practice. So today, I'm inviting you to explore some simple yet powerful exercises to integrate this practice into your life. Let's start with a practice you can use anytime, anywhere: mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present. It's the foundation of radical acceptance because you can't accept what you haven't first noticed. Here's how it works. Take a moment to pause. Wherever you are, notice what's happening around you and within you. The sounds, the sensations, even your thoughts. Just observe them without trying to change anything. Now name what you notice. For example, I'm feeling tension in my shoulders, or I hear birds outside my window. Naming these experiences helps to ground you in reality, exactly as it is. Let's try this together. Wherever you are, take a deep breath. Notice the air moving in and out of your body. Notice how it feels, cool as you breathe in, warm as you breathe out. And as you notice, silently name it, breathing in, breathing out. This simple act of noticing and naming brings you into the present moment. And in the present, acceptance becomes possible. Next, let's explore a guided visualization, a way to release the need to control outcomes and embrace the flow of life. Close your eyes, if you feel comfortable, and imagine you're holding a rope. This rope represents something you've been holding on to, something you've been trying to control. Feel the weight of it in your hands, the tension it creates. Now, imagine loosening your grip just a little. Feel the tension ease as the rope begins to slip through your fingers. You're not letting go entirely, just enough to allow some relief. Notice how your body feels as you release this need to control. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, imagine letting the rope fall gently to the ground. You're not losing anything, you're simply freeing yourself. When you're ready, open your eyes. Notice how this small act of release feels in your body and mind. Writing is a powerful tool for processing and letting go. Here's a simple journaling exercise to deepen your practice of radical acceptance. Take a piece of paper or your journal and answer these questions. 1. What is one situation in my life that I'm resisting? 2. What am I telling myself about this situation? 3. What would happen if I stopped resisting and allowed this to be true? Be honest with yourself as you write. This is a space for exploration, not judgment. When you're done, take a moment to reflect. Notice any shifts in your perspective or emotions as you explore these questions. Finally, let's create a simple daily mantra, a phrase you can return to whenever you feel resistance creeping in. Here's one to try. I release what I cannot change and embrace what is. You can say it silently or out loud whenever you need a reminder to let go. Or create a mantra that speaks directly to your heart, one that feels personal and meaningful. The beauty of a mantra is its simplicity. In just a few words, it can bring you back to center, to the present moment, and to the freedom of radical acceptance. These exercises are like seeds. Plant them in your daily life, water them with practice, and watch them grow into moments of peace, even in the midst of life's challenges. You don't have to master radical acceptance overnight. Start small. Try one of these practices today and notice how it feels. With time, you'll find that acceptance isn't something you do, it's something you become. Remember, this is your journey, and there's no right or wrong way to walk it. Be gentle with yourself and trust that in every moment of acceptance, you're moving closer to the peace you've been seeking all along. Radical acceptance is transformative, but it's not without its challenges. It's a practice that invites us to confront deeply ingrained habits and beliefs, things we may not even realize are holding us back. In this section, we're going to explore some of the common misconceptions about radical acceptance, the hurdles that can arise, and how to navigate them with compassion and perseverance. Because here's the truth, acceptance isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. One of the biggest misunderstandings about radical acceptance is the idea that accepting something means agreeing with it or condoning it. Let me be clear, acceptance does not mean approval. Think of it this way. If someone hurt you, radical acceptance doesn't require you to excuse their behavior. Instead, it asks you to acknowledge that the hurt happened, that it's part of your story, and that no amount of wishing it away will change the past. Acceptance is not about saying, "This was okay." It's about saying, "This is what happened, and I'm choosing to face it rather than fight it." When you let go of resistance, you free yourself from the pain of reliving that hurt over and over again. Ask yourself, is there something in my life I'm struggling to accept because I fear it means I approve of it? What if instead I gave myself permission to simply acknowledge its reality? Another common fear is that acceptance will lead to complacency, that if we stop resisting, we lose our drive to improve or change our situation. But here's the paradox. Acceptance doesn't diminish action, it clarifies it. When we stop fighting reality, we conserve our energy for meaningful action. Imagine you're trying to move a boulder. Resistance is like pushing against the boulder in frustration, wishing it weren't there. Acceptance is stepping back, assessing the situation, and finding a way to move around it, or even harness it to your advantage. Radical acceptance doesn't ask you to give up. It asks you to stop wasting energy on what you can't change, so you can focus on what you can. It's a shift from resistance to resilience. Let's talk about the hardest moments, the ones where acceptance feels impossible. When emotions are high and the pain feels unbearable, the very idea of letting go can seem out of reach. In these moments, start small. You don't have to accept the entire situation all at once. Begin by accepting one aspect of it. For example, I'm feeling angry right now, or this is really hard. Acknowledging even a small piece of the truth can create a foothold for deeper acceptance over time. And remember, radical acceptance doesn't mean you have to like the situation. It just means you stop arguing with reality. Sometimes you might even say to yourself, I don't like this, but here it is. That's enough to start. Another challenge is the fear that acceptance means resigning yourself to a situation that will never improve. But here's the truth. Acceptance is not the end of the story. It's the beginning. When we accept reality, we create the foundation for meaningful change. Without acceptance, we're stuck in a cycle of resistance. With it, we open the door to possibilities we couldn't see before. Remember, accepting what is doesn't mean giving up on what could be. It simply means you're starting from a place of clarity, not denial. To help you navigate these challenges, here are a few tools you can use. 1. Pause and breathe. When resistance arises, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, this moment is here, whether I like it or not. 2. Mantras for tough moments. Try phrases like, I don't have to like it, I just have to accept it, or resistance doesn't change reality. 3. Break it down. Focus on one small part of the situation. Ask, what can I accept about this right now? 4. Compassionate self-talk. Remind yourself that acceptance is a process. It's okay to take it one step at a time. Radical acceptance is a practice, not a destination. You'll have moments where it feels impossible, and that's okay. Each attempt, no matter how small, strengthens your ability to let go of resistance and embrace life as it is. Remember, this journey isn't about perfection, it's about presence. With every step you take toward acceptance, you're choosing peace over struggle. And that choice, that moment of courage, is where transformation begins. Radical acceptance is more than a practice, it's a way of being, a quiet revolution in the way we meet life. We've explored its roots in psychology and its resonance in spiritual traditions like Zen. We've walked through exercises to help you let go of resistance, and we've confronted the challenges that can arise along the way. But if there's one thing I hope you'll take from this adventure, it's this. Acceptance is not about giving up. It's about waking up to the truth of this moment, to the beauty of what is, and to the freedom that comes when we stop fighting reality. And now, I want to share something with you, a reflection in the form of spoken word, because sometimes words spoken from the heart can reach places that explanation alone cannot. I held the world too tightly, knuckles wide, breath short, trying to shape it, mold it, bend it to my will. But the world, wild and untamed, danced beyond my grip, its rhythm refusing to be confined. And so I stood, weary from the struggle, and whispered to the wind, "I surrender." In that surrender, I found a stillness, a quiet truth that whispered back, "You were never meant to carry it all." The river flows whether I fight it or follow. The sun rises even when I close my eyes. And in this letting go, I found a freedom I didn't know was mine. And so it is. Acceptance isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning. It's the place where healing takes root, where growth becomes possible, and where peace, true, lasting peace, can finally unfold. Each moment of radical acceptance is a gift you give yourself, a gift of release, of clarity, of freedom. And though the journey may not always be easy, every step brings you closer to a life lived fully, in harmony with what is. Thank you for sharing this space with me today. May you carry this practice forward with grace for yourself and the courage to meet life as it comes.